with that, Madam Chair, I'll yield back.
Well, thank you so much, and so appreciate your focusing on the fact that we need to support farmers to have more opportunities on the farm or revenue streams on the farm. I think that's a really important discussion and effort that we all need to work on together. I want to start just because this has been a discussion in the committee and in other places as well regarding SNAP, and just start from the beginning to say that we, in 2018 Farm Bill, asked for first update in 50 years for the Thrifty Food Plan. Did that update direct you to make sure that was cost neutral, Mr. Secretary?
Madam Chair, we are following the prescription and direction of the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008, passed by Congress, which directed us, and I'll quote, by the year 2022, and at 5-year intervals thereafter, the Secretary shall reevaluate and publish the market baskets of the Thrifty Food Plan based on current food prices, food composition data, consumption patterns, and dietary guidance. There was no mention in the law that directed us to do the work that we needed to do about cost neutral. It basically said you're to do this every 5 years, with 2022 being the first iteration of this, and you are to focus on market baskets that reflect current food prices, food composition data, consumption patterns, and dietary guidance.
So you believe that the department followed what's in the 2018 Farm Bill?
We did.
So, and let me say that at other times, updates did have language on cost neutral. This, on purpose, did not, because there was an effort after 50 years to look at how we cook, very different patterns for cook, how we eat, what we do, the food inflation, and all of it. So it was meant to be more comprehensive. Let me ask you, last week our committee heard from CFTC Chairman Benham about the potential risk of fraud in emerging carbon markets due to a lack of regulation and guidance from the federal government. And as you know, working with the department, we appreciate the technical assistance last year. We passed the Growing Climate Solutions Act that Senator Braun, Senator Bose, and myself and others worked on, and it authorizes by law that we take first steps to protect farmers who engage in carbon markets. Can you tell us what USDA has done to implement the Growing Climate Solutions Act, and what more the department can do to ensure that carbon markets and credits they generate have integrity? And I assume, as you talked about more revenue streams, that this is part of the options for our growers as well?
That's correct, Madam Chair. We are focused on responding to the direction in the Growing Climate Solutions Act to provide a report to this committee by August of 2023. And we are in the process of putting together the team that will essentially do the groundwork surrounding that report. We will also be looking at and doing a review of the existing carbon market system today. I think we're going to learn a great deal from the 141 projects that we're funding under the Climate Smart Ag and Forestry Commodity Partnership Initiative, because many of those initiatives are also establishing and working on trying to maintain and support a variety of markets, not just carbon markets. There are roughly 24 regulated markets, or not regulated markets, 24 markets that exist today that we can take advantage of with climate smart practices. Carbon markets are one of them, water markets, biodiversity markets, a whole variety of markets. And so this is a strategy, I think, which is important, and we want to get it right. But to get it right, we have to understand where things are today, and then we have to determine whether or not there need to be improvements, and how we would, at USDA, ensure that farmer participation in these markets is appropriate. I would say one last comment, which is that we have to make sure that they are farmer-friendly, that they are usable by farmers. Many of the carbon markets that exist today are not really structured for farmers. They're structured for investment banks and so forth, and that doesn't really work very well in the countryside.
Thank you. And it's so important that we have integrity in the measurements and the processes and so on. So this is real. And the good news is our farmers know. I remember in the last Farm Bill, the corn growers brought us the demonstration project on healthy soil. And it's really, the farmers know that the more carbon in the soil, the healthier it is, and the healthier it is for all of us, because that carbon's not in the atmosphere hanging around causing climate weather disasters. And so it's certainly a win-win, and we want to make sure this has integrity.
Every major commodity group is involved in this partnership initiative, and we have nearly 100 universities and colleges working to make sure that we do a proper reporting, verification, measurement, monitoring of the results.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about local economies and supply chains. And I know that you and the department have done so much work on this, and we've seen what happened as a result of the pandemic and broken supply chains. But our small and mid-sized farmers need new and better markets. And in Michigan, we saw how impactful programs like the meat and poultry processing expansion program were to our Michigan turkey producers, supporting their work to expand local processing capacity. How do you anticipate recent investments in the food supply chain will improve local marketing opportunities?
Well, let me talk about the meat and poultry processing as an example. In addition to providing nearly 3,000 facilities assistance and help on inspection fees, we've also helped nearly 277 facilities expand market opportunities by allowing them to be able to sell across state lines, expanding their markets. We've announced 31 projects already where we're providing grant money to expand or to build new processing capacity. That's going to strengthen local and regional food systems. We are not finished. We have more work to do. You'll see more announcements over the next several months of additional projects that we're funding. You'll see a second round of resources being made available. And you'll also see a round of resources being made available for non-meat and poultry processing opportunities. So you're going to see a significant investment that we can make in strengthening the processing capacity, which creates additional markets. And this is important, particularly for small and mid-sized producers, because it creates the opportunity for them to negotiate, to have a different market opportunity, to be in a situation where there's competition for whatever it is they're growing and raising. Unfortunately, in too many parts of the country today, there's just a single market, and you've got to take the price of whatever it is on that particular day.
Thank you. And as we're looking at the next Farm Bill, look forward to any suggestions you have about how we should be expanding that effort or extending the life of the programs. I certainly hear from a Michigan perspective that this is something of great interest to folks. So at this point, I'm going to turn to Senator Bozeman, indicate to the committee, I think everyone's aware we've extended the question to a 7-minute round rather than 5, so we have ample opportunity to talk to the Secretary. Senator Bozeman.